Hello and welcome back to the Rise with Anita podcast. I'm your host, Anita, with the beautiful Melanie Soul, here to talk to you about the Capricorn full moon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melanie Marisol, and I am a business astrologer for small and medium enterprise CEOs. I help them uncover the deeper spiritual meaning behind scaling to a multi-million or billion-dollar company, and we utilize the client's birth chart to figure out their divine assignment and the legacy that they were born to leave behind.
Beautiful. So go ahead and give us the lowdown of what is going down on this Capricorn full moon.
All right, so this full moon in Capricorn is going to occur on July 3rd of 2023. It's going to be exact at 4:39 a.m. Pacific time, which makes it 7:39 a.m. Eastern time. Or actually, no, I guess it would be it'd be 3:39 Eastern time. Apologies. So, Capricorn is the CEO of the zodiac, and it shows up to help you clean up things that might have been falling by the wayside, especially if you're working towards your long-term goals, since Capricorn is more of a longer-term goals process, right? So it is ruled by Saturn, and it's here to help guide you through the inevitable challenges that arise as you climb up the mountain towards your long-term visions and goals. So it actually comes as a surprise to most people that Capricorn is a feminine sign. So when I say Capricorn is the CEO of the zodiac, it's the authority, the boss. And typically in the Western world, we kind of view the authority or boss as being a man. So the long standard American idea of like a successful CEO is like a middle-aged man leading the way, tearing through a bunch of corporate takeovers, right, with little regard to people's feelings. When in actuality, Capricorn as a feminine sign really make excellent CEOs because they always have long-term vision that they're striving for, in addition to being detail-oriented. And although Capricorn is kind of like a hard ass of the zodiac, it's a more mature sign. The people that they do choose to have in their life, they're very loyal to, which I think is a very feminine thing as well. So even though Capricorns consistently across the board usually don't stop until they get to the top, the feminine energy is reflected in the loyalty and the intimacy that they have with other people. So there's a book called The Signs of Success. I think this author's name is Stephen Wise, and he talks about all kinds of CEOs throughout American business and what they have accomplished. And Capricorn and Pisces, actually, Pisces Suns and Capricorn Suns are the top CEOs, which is interesting because you kind of consider Pisces as like pretty limitless and into not having boundaries, but they actually are the most heart-centered. And I think that's what's going to lead us into the new earth and the new economy. Being heart-centered without being a pushover, you can have both. Additionally, Capricorn is also always going to be opposite Cancer in the zodiac wheel. So Cancer is more concerned about the home and the family and intimacy and closeness. So in one way, you could view Capricorn as like the man who works at the corporate conglomerate, like in 1950s Mad Men kind of vibes, while Cancer is the domestic housewife. So that is a way you could view it, but it's a little distorted, right? I don't really think that's fulfilling for anybody in that time period. However, during this particular full moon in Capricorn, there's a lot of Venusian energy activating other planets. So there's just like a lot of feminine vibes to this very cleansing full moon. So we have a lot of feminine energy to the max. So this full moon is less about doing and more about releasing and becoming, which might be challenging for Capricorns, since Capricorns are all about action and doing. It doesn't mean you like roll over and die during this full moon, but it also means it's a time to reevaluate and release, take a breather, and then move on to the next thing. Let's see. Additionally, we have Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is considered the daddy or the dad of the zodiac. So he's here to make sure you get your shit together. And Saturn is the master timekeeper, and he also serves the obstacles that lead you to practicing alchemy and helping you build your inner resilience so that you can handle greater responsibility and increase your maturity. So with all that, full moons are a time of culmination, endings, and releasing that which no longer serves you, whereas the new moon is time for you to dream up and and set new intentions. So there are a lot of positive transits happening, and it's inevitable that you're about to transform into your highest self, but it's only when you drop the BS that's been getting in the way of your long-term visions and goals. So with that, I can get into the astrological forecast, and then we can get into the collective horoscopes. Is there anything you'd like to add, Anita?
No, I think the only thing that I'm really kind of channeling here is the fact that it's time for Capricorns to maybe slow down a little.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. So if this was like a new moon in Cap, then it'd be like all systems go ahead. Whereas a full moon in Capricorn is take a breather, right? So
Slow down, relax, feel into what's coming up.
Yeah, and it's more of like relax, and if you feel like you have to be productive while you're relaxing, I've heard people say that as well. Can you at least reflect, you know? So that way you're not just like blindly charging at. So with that, we have some positive aspects here. So we have the Sun conjunct Mercury. So it's a very auspicious time to market and promote your offerings, letting your core archetype, which is your sun sign, shine and speak from the highest intentions of the offers that you're providing. So we're not really out here with Sun conjunct Mercury, which is the planet of communication, in selling and salesmanship. We're not into necessarily promoting manipulative or emotion-based marketing, but it's a good time to promote your offers. The Sun also sextiles Jupiter as well. So showing up as your most authentic self is the key to welcoming abundance, opportunity, and expansion. And strangely as well, Neptune is sextiling Pluto. Again, this is a positive interaction. So Neptune is all about fantasy and boundarylessness, and Pluto is all about death and regeneration. So Pluto comes in and kind of knocks out anything that's not really sustainable. So although it's seemingly challenging at first, the dreamy, limitless Neptune interacts positively with the destructive Pluto. So instead of stressing about the societal collapse that we might find ourselves in since 2020, you could just assume that the society is rearranging itself for the better. So the sky is the limit, literally. So allowing your wildest visions of heaven on earth to guide you through this general global chaos that's been happening since 2020 is really what's going to ground you. I think sometimes people get caught up on what people are saying on the internet, and they are not really going outside and touching enough grass to realize that people complaining on the internet usually are not really doing much with their life, let's be honest. So harness and channel that Capricorn mindset and don't bother yourself with peasants. So whenever you see something that you know is not for humanity's highest good, just accept it for what it is and redirect your thoughts to what you wish to see instead. So releasing all that is holding you back so that you can welcome in the weird and wonderful. That is the big focus here with the positive aspects in transits. Additionally, we have some challenging aspects as well. So during this full moon, the moon is also opposing Mercury. So the moon is the reflection of your innermost self. It's a lunar being, it's cyclical, right? So when it comes to marketing or doing business, you may feel uncomfortable sharing your innermost thoughts during this transit, especially if you're trying to weave vulnerability into your marketing. But however, being strategically vulnerable magnetizes your soulmate's clients. So this is a challenging interaction that will force you to master genuine vulnerability and sharing your offerings and your magic, while also helping you define your boundaries so that you don't feel like you're airing your dirty laundry online, or that maybe you're sharing something that you haven't fully integrated yet. That can be the challenge, and actually that helps you reach higher mastery and higher levels of alchemy. Additionally, we have Venus conjuncting Mars, which we had in our last new moon. Venus is squaring Uranus, and it's trining Chiron. So a lot of Venus energy going on. Yeah. So we have, as I said in the last video we did, we have sensual Venus directly interacting with fiery action-taking Mars. So again, good time to promote and sell your offers. So is there a way you can run a flash sale or do a quick revenue boost during this time? Additionally, Venus squaring Uranus. It's not the most pleasant interaction. They're kind of weird planets to be interacting with each other. So because Venus is feminine and it's interacting with this weird, unpredictable Uranus, it's uncomfortable because feminine energy naturally is always seeking masculine containment. So feminine energy is all about the flow and like creative chaos, whereas masculine energy provides kind of like a box for it to operate in. And Uranus, because it's so unpredictable, may not deliver, right? So what does this mean for you? Give yourself a chance to reinvent how you promote your offers, what they consist of, and how they will transform your clientele for the better. So focusing on maybe shaking up your offers a little bit, tweaking them versus, burning everything to the ground. And lastly, Venus is trining Chiron. So Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer. And Chiron in your chart kind of looks like a little key if you look at it on your birth chart. So Chiron is the tender karmic wound that you're meant to heal in this lifetime so that you can teach others how to do the same. So although that's pretty vulnerable to do that, right? It also leads you to do massive transformation, healing, and integration. So again, not about airing your dirty laundry online per se, but how can you take Venus, which rules love, beauty, art, and money, and it's positively interacting with Chiron, how can you strategically and safely maybe share even just one vulnerable backstory that will enable you to connect with your soulmate clients, as your moon sign and your Chiron sign are what is attracting. Actually, those are some of the clients that you're meant to be serving, right? So to finish all that, the heavy Venus energy makes for unexpected mashups, but it's also really cleansing. So again, allowing the feminine energy to flow through you, allowing the wounds to be felt, and you can feel it in order to heal it. That's the thing. And the more you show up as your most authentic self, the easier it is to sell. Because on July 3rd, this energy leads to the perfect time to set goals with crystal clear precision, because we have Capricorn energy as well. So in order to do that with the most potency, you must release any lingering fears around being vulnerable. And the more vulnerable you are, the more you beam a broadcast of your true essence to those who you are meant to serve.
Beautiful. And I think the biggest thing I'm sensing right now is just allowing yourself to process what's coming up, allowing yourself the grace to actually feel it, while also not necessarily sitting back and not taking any action, but taking aligned action that's kind of suited for the energy that you're in, and allowing that vulnerability to be the key to unleash a new door for you, so to speak.
Exactly. And so with that, we are going to move on into the collective horoscopes for everyone's sun, moon, and ascendant or rising. Again, you can take or leave what resonates with you. Some people feel more intimate or vulnerable during a full moon, and maybe the moon sign reading is good for you. Other people believe in only focusing on the rising sign. So you do you. Take what resonates and leave the rest. So while I'm reading them, Nita, if you feel like you want to add anything too, just let me know, and we can weave in your intuitive channeling as well. So starting with Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this is the time to cleanse any hangups lingering around your life's work and true career. So what is it that you really want to do? Are you currently doing it right now? So if so, how can you dive deeper to clear out the energetic cobwebs that kind of accumulate sometimes, feelings of not being able to do it, or maybe it's wrong, right? How can you clear out those energetic cobwebs to become a clear channel? If you're not doing what you really want to be doing, how can you pivot and slowly integrate your values into aligned and deeply fulfilling offerings?
Beautiful. I think for this one, the only thing that's really coming through is just taking a look at how to make that work and the career that you're currently doing and make it aligned with your actual vision. Looking at it from a perspective of how can I be serving at a higher level, and maybe how can I make this and cultivate it into my actual reality if you're not doing so.
Exactly. This is like the time to get it out and get it done and move along, right?
Start taking your action steps slowly.
Right.
Sorry.
No, because normally with Aries energy, like Aries just likes to charge ahead, whatever. But with Capricorn, this is the time to confidently move forward, but let's be the tortoise and not the hare, right? Like in that Aesop's fable. All right. So We're going to do Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So you're going to be experiencing cleansing around your beliefs, your personal philosophies, your own manifesto, as it were, and maybe how you view dogma and religion, right? So this is a time for review and reflection of kind of where you're going spiritually and like with the bigger picture. So again, this doesn't have to be like a super heavy full moon, but are there any beliefs that you've been harboring that don't really make any sense? How can you remove them and get more into alignment with what you're really meant to be doing? All right. So moving on, we have Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So this is a rather heavy yet potentially life-changing cleanse around your thinking of the taboo and hidden knowledge. So it's a death and rebirth of how you relate to the esoteric. So if there's any sign that is going to get to the bottom of something kind of heavy or dark, Gemini is one of the best signs to handle it. So Gemini, of course, is symbolized by the twins, right? It's all very light and flighty kind of energy, as Hermes was the messenger of the gods, right? So this light and flighty energy is what enables you to kind of navigate through this rather metal full moon. And the light going into the darkness, the light shining on the darkness, is what will help you be able to move forward feeling lighter and renewed. Okay. We also have Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this is a really cleansing relief to how you view relationships. So this can include business partnerships, friendships, family relationships as well. So communicate clearly and set firm boundaries with those who do not truly respect you so that you can regain and retain your peace. If this means ending a friendship, maybe closing a business partnership that is not as fruitful, or it just brings you emotional stress, don't be afraid to just let it go. You have the feminine energy behind you, right? So this is completely available to you. All right, moving on. We have Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So there's a cleansing rush over your daily routines and rituals. So which daily routines of yours have gotten stale, and how can you fully express yourself by doing fabulous rituals instead? So Leo, of course, is all about the divine inner child. So how can we, I want to say, pussify the daily routines and rituals, right? How can we show up as our most expressed self? Because I think sometimes people get stale, and we have the summertime now. So what can we do to make it fun?
How can you bring more flow into your day?
How we harness that feminine energy, right? All right. So moving on, we have Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So this is a potentially really disrupting cleanse of how you relate to your inner child, as Virgo can kind of be super committed to their plans, right? So how can your day-to-day activities receive a rush of fresh energy so that your inner child can also shine, right? So what kind of daily movement can you incorporate through the eyes of your inner child so that you both feel truly self-expressed and alive? I think sometimes as we get older, we fall into routines, and maybe if we reinvented them as well, like what we did as a kid, it'd be more fun. So instead of always going to the gym and you're going to go work out and you're going to be on the treadmill, could you actually just kind of go to a playground and like swing on the swings or something, or get lost in a hike or something? Maybe that is what you could be focusing on.
Or subsequently, you could take that time to go ahead and really do something that you haven't done in a long while that you used to love to do. So that could be the form of like coloring, or maybe it's reading a fiction book just for the hell of it because you enjoy to read, and it's not necessarily something you're doing for the benefit of self development or growth. Because, of course, a lot of our audience is going to be more focused on that. But maybe you need to take a step back and just allow yourself to do something for fun rather than being so caught up with what is the next move I can make.
Right, right. So that's all I have to say about Virgo. I feel like they get a lot of bad rap in the zodiac. So Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. So because we have like a lot of Mercury activity going on, good time to sell. But at the same time, Gemini is considered to be all the super positive aspects of Mercury energy, and Virgo is considered to be the bad shadow aspect side of Mercury energy. And we're here to break that, right? Because this is a refresh and rebirth. full moon. All right, so now we have Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You're going to probably be experiencing a very tender cleansing around the concept of your roots, your home, and what makes you feel the most nurtured. Nurtured, nourished, right? So what needs to be removed from your home, either energetically or physically, to cultivate emotional safety and feelings of sanctuary and coziness. So when you have that cozy feeling, right, even especially in your house. So there's your physical house, and then there's like the house that is your human body, right? So how can you cultivate those feelings of sanctuary and nourishment and emotional safety so that you can go forward and make better business decisions, right?
Also, maybe tapping into the energy of peace while you're doing so. What can make you feel more peaceful, more grounded, more connected with yourself, with your higher self, with your heart? I think that it's very important to go ahead and take that time to actually connect with what's going to be making you feel at home.
Right, right. I think a lot of people as well with Capricorn energy, it's like I have to keep doing, but this is more of how can you cultivate from within first. Of course, there's periods in business where you are hustling, you're doing a lot more work, there's seasons of busyness. But when it comes to your home, maybe you shouldn't have that feeling. It's more of a how can you cultivate from within first, you know?
Yeah. Or how can you be being for once?
Right. All right, moving on, we have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this is a clear out and refresh, even a rebrand possibly, around your messaging or your social media presence. So Scorpio is pretty metal, I think probably the most metal of all the signs. So how can you take this intimate, vulnerable Venusian energy that's activating everybody right now on this full moon? My prediction is people will probably be a little bit crazy on this full moon. Also, it's around America's birthday, July 4th. So I don't know. I'm sensing death and rebirth here for America specifically. But I'm wondering when it comes to what you stand for in social media. Are you a Scorpio that has a lot of goth, dark imagery? Do you want to do something that is like an evolution, the next step up? Doesn't mean you have to make everything white, bright, and fluffy, but is there a way that you can kind of up level in your marketing, in your branding, in your messaging? Is there a way to kind of let the darkness out, since Scorpio is kind of like the harbinger of intense taboo, but also like make it shareable? I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, so it's activating third house energy for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So communication, broadcasting, your messaging, networking, your online presence. How can you welcome in those who you're meant to serve while maintaining and serving from integrity, but also allowing the fresh new energy to flow through, right? So I think I saw a meme once, and it's like there's like a pink skeleton taking a selfie, and it said when you have heavy Scorpio and Libra placements. So how can you kind of infuse that energy into your rebrand for this full moon? All right. So now we're moving on to Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So you're going to be experiencing a deep cleansing rush of your values and self-worth. So what unhelpful patterns and habits surrounding money and material possessions need to be cleared? What money mindset shifts need to take place? So how can you embody the next level you with what you currently have now? A lot of people think that you have to have and possess the things that you want in order to feel like you're going to be okay, when reality is, again, cultivating that inner sense first. Additionally, sometimes with Sagittarius, they don't really care about material possessions. Some Sagittarius is associated with traveling and living light, right? So they can travel easily. So again, how can we still stack cash while we're doing these travel things in a way that is in alignment for us and doesn't stress us out or doesn't have us working 24/7 while we're in a beautiful place, you know?
What new what new beliefs do you need to be cultivating? Think about it from the aspect of like the energy of how can I start feeling the here and the now without it actually necessarily being prevalent in your actual reality currently. So maybe for you, you're looking to make millions of dollars. Currently aren't even at six figures yet. So how can I create that mindset of what that $1 million version of myself is currently gonna need to adjust to in order to cultivate that money into my life, into my success?
Mm-hmm.
Because the habits of a millionaire are built while you're still building. It's not something that as I make more money, I will develop the mindset of a millionaire. No, you have to start making those shifts now. So maybe it's also about what resources can I look into to learn about how to make more money? How to invest my money? How am I going to incrementally change my actual reality of and relationship with the money that I have in my life currently?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. And you can actually be a carefree Sagittarius and have money. It is possible, right? All right, so then we're moving on to Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So you're going to be experiencing a death and rebirth surrounding your identity, what you're known for, who you are separate from your family, right? So you're used to defining yourself in relation to your career, right? Which is fine, nothing wrong with that, as long as your whole identity isn't just tied up into what you do for work, right? So you might want to ask yourself, is this business you the real you? So if that's the case and you're consistent, everyone who meets you is meeting the same person, that's great. So keep on keeping on. So you're by doing that, you are leading the way by running a business in alignment and integrity. So if this is not the case, if the business you is not the real you and you feel kind of split, what needs to change? So don't overthink it, just reflect and then act on it, right? It's more of if someone meets you at a business meeting, and then you say you're having it at a coffee shop, and then you go to another coffee shop to meet up with your family, is it a completely different experience interacting with you? Now, when it comes to your human design, which I am not an expert at yet, but when it comes to human design, some people are meant to be chameleons, and other people are meant to be the same person no matter what environment they're in. So that could be a little, I invite you to do deeper exploration with that. But generally, for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, so that is the call to action for some of you. Are you consistent?
And maybe is it time for you to remove a mask? So are you also hiding behind that identity of the business person? Are you using it as a shelter of some sort, perhaps, to maybe be covering up for where you might feel inefficient in other aspects of life, whether it be your relationships or your family life, your home life, whatever the case might be? And you want to take that from an aspect of maybe I can show up with that same energy. And maybe the key here is to bring it with loving energy and being kinder to yourself while you're in the process of doing so.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So what do you have, Capricorn? It's your full moon. All right. So Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this is going to be a death and rebirth regarding deep subconscious patterns. So this is, I think sometimes people stress out about it when they're told to review their unhelpful patterns or dive deep into their subconscious mind. I think humans naturally kind of fear the unknown. But this is a really good time for you. It's a really golden opportunity to reflect. So on the zodiac wheel, Capricorn is right before Aquarius. So they work really well together, believe it or not. So I think it's because they both secretly tend to have superiority complexes and they think they're better than other people. So I think it just comes with being transpersonal signs that are more mature, generally speaking. But with Aquarius, this is a time for you to sit back, reflect, and think, are there any subconscious patterns that I could give up right now, that I could completely reprogram and rewire? When's the last time I checked out my subconscious? Have I deeply meditated yet? Is there any type of binaural beats I could play while I'm working? So that things can be brought up so that you can heal it by feeling it and then you integrate it. So this is what is happening for you during this full moon in Capricorn.
Subsequently, I think an alternative mechanism which you could be processing with is breath work. I do find that me personally, as an Aquarius sun, using breath work to also bring up what is in my subconscious while also allowing my body to feel it has been a game changer in terms of actually processing the emotions. Because again, your body ends up storing all these limiting beliefs, all these stories that you've built upon yourself. So when you allow yourself to actually tap into that energy of, okay, this isn't serving me. Why? First of all, why is it not serving me? And also, how can I be reframing this? Because we're in this constant transformation. And unfortunately, or fortunately, as part of our human experience, is to have these new limiting beliefs that get placed and get rewired. It's just how it's going to happen, regardless of what level you get to. I don't care if you haven't hit your first six figures yet, or you're in your 7-figure mark hitting 8 figures. There's going to be new challenges that come up with that level, and it's just going to require you to grow. So finding these modalities that you can use now while you're generating that income, while you're generating that next level version of you, is going to be key in helping you kind of stay sane as you develop these new habits, these new patterns, these new growth responses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a good. Thank you, Anita, for that. That's a really good addition. So thank you. All right, and finally, closing out with Pisces Sun, Moon, and Risings. So you're going to be experiencing a cosmic clear out of groups and communities that are not aligned for your highest good. So it might seem like all your friendships are collapsing right now, or people are just dying off in droves. But the reality is that it's all happening for your highest good to welcome in the new and more aligned. So Pisces has a tendency to love everybody and you're next. It's kind of their motto, which is great. But sometimes they have a tendency to stay with people longer than they should. So this is a good time to really be honest and be real with yourself. And are there people in groups that are not really helping you at all? And if that's the case, you don't even have to necessarily confront people and just let them go and release it. Write on a piece of paper during your full moon ritual, burn that stuff, and then be able to welcome in the people that you're really meant to be friends with. Call in your soul family as well.
Yes. So to piggyback off that, just having personal experiences with Pisces people, I really, really commend you guys to go ahead and look for the aligned and just be open to being with those who are more aligned with you. Finding people who are maybe in more aligned mindsets, in more aligned groups and cultivations of what you want to be bringing into your reality. Because so many times a Pisces person can kind of get flustered into what other people's interests are or what other people's um, priorities are. And maybe right now it's a time for you to step back and to find a group of aligned friends, family members, whatever the case may be, that are actually bringing in and cultivating the skill sets, the mindset shifts that you are looking for in your own life. Or maybe it's just to find people that you can have genuine conversations with that are not draining you, because Pisces tends to allow their battery to get drained by people who are not exactly serving them. So just take that as a choice of, let me find a new group of people to associate with, but also maybe it's time for you to go ahead and cultivate the energy of, what can I be bringing forth to the world? What can I be using my voice for? And maybe that is the time where you're going to start to mesh your waters into other people's circles, allowing them to be impacted by your spirit, because Pisces has very big energy most of the time. And a lot of times you guys dwindle it down to be meshed with the energy of others. So how can I start shining a little more brighter now?
Right. We're here to harness that Capricorn lone wolf mindset of like, I'm focused on me and my thing and like my long-term goals. I don't care about other people. But you do it in a heart-centered way, because Pisces has a lot to offer the collective. So the more you stay focused, the better it will be overall. So that's all I had to report on the cosmic weather front. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up, Anita?
Just be kind to yourself regardless of what sign you are. I think right now is an impactful time, especially as we head into this new phase of the next quarter. We're at the midway point of the year. So take time to really reflect also on what is the energy that you're remaining and cultivating for 2023 as the final 6 months are coming up.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you everybody for listening to this. Again, I wish you a really amazing Capricorn full moon. It may be restful and rejuvenating and refreshing. And for those that are having really intense death and rebirth, it's going to be great. Anyone else watching this, happy 4th of July, if that's what you're into celebrating. And we have another year before the Pluto return of the US, according to Vedic astrology. So things are going to get weird. Basically, Pluto return is when the natal Pluto is gone all around the solar system, and it's going to be in the same spot it was when the US was born, if you will. So we're probably going to feel some disruption if we haven't already since 2020. If you haven't, you're on another level of Zen, right? I think we all collectively have been experiencing 2020 aftermath. So this is the time to not be, I'm going to add in, like, don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid if the US specifically, if you're watching this, you're an American, don't be afraid as the US, as you know, it is changing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's for the worst either. So still retain that American value of being positive.
Beautiful. Well, thank you again for your time and for spreading the light on what is coming up for us as a collective. Please go ahead and just let the people who are watching know how they can connect with you. How can they see more of you on social media, or how they can actually work with you if they're very interested.
Right. So if anybody is interested in working with me, they can connect with me on Instagram at Melanie_Marisol. You can also find me at MelanieMarisol.com. And I also have my LinkedIn linked down below. If anyone's interested in learning what their divine assignment is and the legacy that they're born to leave behind, you can book a reading with me. I also do astrology informed PR strategy. So you figure out what is the best PR that is most aligned with you and your natural gifts and talents, so you don't waste your time. And if you want, you can always click to book a time to speak with me below as well.
Beautiful. Well, that's it for now. We will be back in 2 weeks with a new moon recording, and I look forward to seeing you guys then. If you are interested in sharing this channel just so that people could hear what's going on, go ahead, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.